Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Staples Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today I am bringing you the card I'm making for my customers who bought with me last month, so in May. So you may already have seen the little gift that I've made them, and now this is the card. This is using the Rooted in Nature stamp set. It's all labelled up because I've got a team event this weekend, and it's just so that people know they're mine, because we're sharing. So we've got a Sahara Sand card base, and then everything else is on very vanilla. So let's get started. I'm using two of the leaf images. There are more than two, because there's these two and then there's this one and this one. But I'm using the skeleton leaves, and I'm going to be very careful about how I do this, because I managed to get the wrong colour ink into the wrong colour pad last time. So this is crumb cake, and the larger of the two skeleton leaves, and I'm just inking that up and popping it sort of randomly onto my card base. I'm trying to leave a few little gaps so that I can come in with this one and Blackberry Bliss, that returning colour. It's so dark it's almost a neutral in my mind, but it's gorgeous. So, and this is what ended up on the crumb cake. Don't ask me how I did it. I wasn't concentrating is the answer. So hence I've closed the crumb cake for this turn, because I don't want that to happen again. But some judicious application of wet wipe and re-inker, and it was fine. So yeah. Right, actually, while I've got that out, I am going to stamp the inside of my card, because I'm using Blackberry Bliss for that as well, and I'm using the You're Wonderful stamp because my customers are. Because without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So I like them a lot. Right, so we'll pop those to one side for the moment, and then we'll come to the main feature, which is the tree. And for that, I'm using crumb cake again, and the large tree image, and I'm just going to ink that up and try not to get that piece of fluff that there was on it. So crumb cake, and then I've got the soft suede Stampin' Right marker, and I'm just adding some bits of that just to have a bit of a more mottled look. The idea is to start with your paler shade and then add your darker shade, or shades. You could use any number you want. And then there we go. So that is the stamping. Then that needs to run through the Big Shot with that die. Let me just clear the decks a bit before I... So in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I prepared earlier. So let's grab a card base and pop it all together. So this is just my standard A4 cut in half, scored down the middle. So nothing too exciting there. Don't ever try to shoot a video when you've packed up for a weekend away. It doesn't work, because everything's packed away. So add some strips of snail, and then our stamped piece, like that. Then, once upon a time I had a pair of snips right in front of my nose, is where they were, because I need a piece of burlap ribbon. I use the word ribbon in its loosest sense. So burlap. That we are going to add just there, except I wanted to, I'll cut it at a jaunty angle in a moment, I think. Now, because we don't have fast fuse anymore, I'm going to add this with some mini glue dots, because I want a good but dry adhesive, and snail is great for most ribbons, but I wouldn't recommend it for the burlap because it is quite a tough cookie, a burlap. So we'll pop that down. Then some dimensionals on the back of this. Oops, I don't need that many. And then I've got some mini dimensionals because the mini dimensional is ideal for just the bottom bit there. And then I do find the small ones a little tricky to take off with my fingernails, and while I've got my piercing tool out, I'll do all of them. And then that goes down on there. Straight would be a good idea, really, wouldn't it? And then I'll just trim this end. Now that I know where I've got my tree, I can trim that at an angle, and then all I need to do is stick the inside into my card, and then we're done. So a nice quick card. When you're making as many thank you cards as I am, trust me, you don't want them to be too complicated. Just doing the die cutting is quite enough, thank you. Anyway, so there we go. There's the one I've just made, and here's the one I made earlier. I hope you enjoyed that. I love this stamp set. It's great for men, for women. It's just perfect. And the papers that go with it are just staggering. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you would like to get a thank you gift in July, shop with me in June and you will. So all the details of what I have used will be on my blog, which is linked immediately below. But there's also a shop icon or shop link further down in amongst all my social media links. So if you just click on my social media links, you'll see the shop with me link. But everything I've used will be listed on my blog post, which, as I say, is linked immediately below. If you don't already subscribe to my blog, you can subscribe by email over on my blog. There is a little form for doing that. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, which I send out about twice a month with all the latest news from Old Stables and also all the latest news from Stampin' Up. So certainly worth getting your hands on that. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!